In late 2019, Jenny and I discovered the most amazing thing ever. It was gluttony of people being bad with money. It was a guy, an old guy, yelling at these people being bad with money. It was the Dave Ramsey Show. It was something that we would listen to regularly. We would listen to best ofs and worst ofs, really. It was something that caught our attention. How could people be so awful with money? Then we started listening to the show like you're supposed to, actually maybe learn a few things. But as time went on, a full year of listening to it regularly, sometimes more than one show in a day, it became a grind. It wasn't fun anymore. The Dave Ramsey Show just kind of faded out of existence into my daily to-do list. And now, after listening to him regularly for over a year, multiple episodes a day, I don't listen to Dave Ramsey ever about anything. It's for these 5 reasons why I stopped listening to the Dave Ramsey Show completely. The Dave Ramsey Show is always the same. Every episode, he crosses his arms, he listens intently, and there's maybe 60% of people who know what they're doing already. The other 40% have no idea what they're doing, and it just goes in an endless cycle. You really only need to listen to 1 week's worth of episodes to gain all the knowledge from every single one of his books. Maybe it would help if you read the Bible too, because he brings a lot of biblical stuff into the show, which, you know what, if it's not for you, it's not for you, but that's a problem with the show as well. It's not for everyone. Eventually, the Dave Ramsey Show just became the same thing over and over again. Yes, I know we started listening to it during the pandemic in 2020 when there really wasn't much to talk about other than panic. But even afterwards, it just was a political sideshow, and that's another reason why I stopped listening. Everything on the Dave Ramsey Show just seems to be about politics. I may not agree with any political belief that Dave Ramsey has. He's not specific about it, but it's fairly obvious which way he leans. And that's perfectly fine. There's plenty of entertainers who I probably don't agree with on things, but the problem with the Dave Ramsey Show is that he makes everything political. Not only that, the politics seem to invade the workplace. He's allegedly fired people for having premarital sex, which is kind of crazy in the year 2022 or even 1922. The way that politics invades the money space is kind of ridiculous. He blames the Democratic president whenever he can. He constantly brings up politics for no reason at all. If Dave Ramsey could find a way, he would blame a dingleberry on Joe Biden. Another reason why I stopped listening to the Dave Ramsey Show are the personalities. His cohorts on the show, that was kind of a new thing in 2020 around the time I started listening, which is kind of unfortunate because it became an everyday occurrence. Now, some of them are tolerable and some not so much. A lot of them are gone now for a variety of reasons, some that we know about, some that we don't know so much about. But the big problem with the personalities is that their only purpose to be there is just to parrot off whatever Dave Ramsey's saying. Every time a host sits next to him, he just sits there staring at them as if it's a test to see who's going to take over the Dave Ramsey empire when he's gone. It's uncomfortable, it's unneeded, and they don't really add anything to the show because he doesn't let them. It would be a lot more interesting if he actually let his personalities speak their own minds and offer tips of their own from their experiences. But the problem is, when you're on the Dave Ramsey Show, you have to follow his guidelines to a T. Now, if you've ever joined any Facebook groups that follow Dave Ramsey, you may know that the same policies go with them. I'm in a Dave Ramsey-ish group. I just follow, I don't really participate. But people say that his little minions in some of those groups are pretty awful. If you even own a credit card, they'll ban you. I stopped listening to the Dave Ramsey Show because it's just not for me. It's really not directed at somebody in my situation. It's really middle America that he's targeting, which is fair because he's based out of Tennessee. But a lot of his baby step programs, the numbers are so outdated, and where I live, it really isn't relevant. He suggests having a $1,000 starter emergency fund, which really no one will agree with is nearly enough. His policy of only having a 15-year mortgage is the least practical thing of all. I don't think I could ever afford, even if I had 6 wives, to pay for that. And that's if all 6 wives are working and making a good income, of course. It just doesn't make sense. A lot of the advice he gives, it's outdated. And most of all, his show, although they don't specify it, is a get out of debt show. And if you don't have a lot of serious debt, you're not really going to gain anything new out of listening to his show. I'm sure the baby steps have worked for a lot of people and gotten countless people out of debt. It's genuine. I agree with that. But if you're looking to just make more money, invest, he doesn't have the best advice. You can get that so many other places. And that brings me to the last reason why I don't listen to the Dave Ramsey Show. I do need better advice. I need better advice than to stop paying for things I don't need, to not get a car lease. That's really what the Dave Ramsey Show is. It's common sense. And sometimes he's just sitting there laughing at how stupid people can be. And it's ironic. If you've noticed, whenever people call the baby steps the BS, he snickers because he knows that his whole empire is a lot of BS. And I don't mean baby steps. Dave Ramsey didn't become a millionaire or a multi-millionaire. Who knows how much money he really has? I guess you could Google it. He became so wealthy because other people handle money so poorly, and there's nothing wrong with that. He has helped a lot of people. But the advice he gives is for those who are completely lost. It's a very niche audience that he has. There's a reason why his radio program isn't on in cars outside of satellite radio in a lot of parts of the country, because it just doesn't fit, and that's not for me. Maybe occasionally I'll check in on the Dave Ramsey Show. Maybe there's something controversial that he's done that I want to see how ridiculous it is. Things like not even allowing employees to wear masks at a Christmas party. Things like that. It crosses a barrier where even if he is giving the greatest advice in the world, it's just too hard to separate the advice from who he is. I just can't make a differentiation between them. He's just a grumpy old guy at this point who doesn't always get his way, and it's not as much fun as it used to be, you know. And there's only so much of laughing at people that don't understand the troubles they're in. Because, you know, ultimately Dave Ramsey's show is supposed to help people, but it seems like a lot of the time he's doing more damage. So that's why I don't listen anymore. And, you know, until he does something else ridiculous, I don't think I'm gonna listen again.